Wild stuff at Brentford. United get battered. Mason Mount gives them the lead in injury time, and Christopher Odger equalizes in minute 99.
Trust the process, according to Ten Hag. What process?
This is terrible.
It's awful. It's awful. I mean, I knew when they beat Liverpool last week in the Cup, I thought they'd get beat at Brentford. I knew they'd get beaten up because I watch a Man United side who are not even up for the fight. You know, managers used to tell us back in the day, be prepared for the fight, earn the right to play. I think Man United half think they can just rock up anywhere, not in an arrogant way because it's just not good enough. They just think they can rock up and just play football. You can't when you play Brentford.
I credit Thomas Frank, the way he set up, totally outfoxed.
Should have been 6-1.
But yeah, Brentford hit the woodwork 4 times. The number of touches in the box, Brentford had 85 touches in the box.
85.
Manchester United had 16. Ivan Toney, who I'm not his biggest fan, but I thought he was phenomenal. He had 15 touches on his own in the United box.
But when you watch them, you keep going round in circles. You think, it's the attitude, it's the application. No, they're just not good enough. Is the manager good enough?
One step forward, one step back.
Yeah, exactly.
Liverpool beat Brighton 2-1, and as we said, the lead is up to 2 points, Don. Mohamed Salah looked a little bit rusty, shall we say?
A little bit.
By his standards. But Alexis McAllister was pretty special.
Oh, my, 35 million, what a signing. What a signing. I mean, he's played as a 6. He's now back in the 8 position because of Endo. I thought Jarrell Kwanzaa at the back was amazing. He looks like a baby Van Dijk. I thought Liverpool were really good against a good Brighton side. But Mohamed Salah, you're right in looking a little bit rusty in terms of his finishing. But I've seen him against Man United. He was almost protecting that hamstring a little bit. I've seen him run the length of the pitch time after time. So that tells me what a player to have in the running.
Right. I have no problem if people who've historically scored a lot of goals screw the pooch a couple times with their finishing. It happens. By the way, I said it all season. McAllister at 6. He's fine.
Do it.
But
can do
this is where he does the damage.
Oh, my. I mean, I knew he was good, Gab, but I didn't realise he was this good.
Tottenham come from behind to beat Luton Town 2-1 as the race for top 4 continues. Don, did they look a little better than in recent outings where they were very up and down?
No, weird. It's not a criticism watching Tottenham under Postecoglou. I like it. They're entertaining. Fans are loving it. They pay their money. They're getting entertained. My biggest worry, and I commentated on this game, was a lack of game management either from the manager or when he brought Højbjerg on, brought Bentancur on the pitch. And with 5 minutes to go, they weren't exactly hanging on Tottenham, but they were comfortable in the game. And a doggy went, Porro went, Bentancur went.
That's how he plays. That's handball. They're brave.
But it's 2-1 against Luton, Gab.
You can score.
Højbjerg's come on. Højbjerg should be saying to Porro, don't move. A doggy, don't move. It's 2-1.
It's Udogie, by the way.
Okay, Udogie. But saying to Bentancur, who's off playing a number 10 for 5 minutes of the game, sit in your slots. We need to win this game. Better teams would have got that back.
Ben Davies told us he's allowed to go as long as somebody else comes back.
Better teams would have got that back to 2-2. Then you're talking about a draw.
If Timo Werner doesn't finish like Timo Werner.
I mean, they had loads of chances, to be fair. A couple off the line. That nearly went over the line. So there should have been a bigger scoreline, but it was a lack of game management that troubled me.
Mauricio Pochettino is furious as Chelsea play more than an hour against 10-man Burnley, who are second bottom in the table, I should say, and ended up getting held at home 2-2. Don, this came 24 hours after Poch had said that based on analytics, Chelsea should be top 4.
Well, I mean, what a statement. He forgot about goals scored. He forgot about chances created. He's somehow come up with his data in analysis. He should be top 4. Based on what?
Based on expected goal difference.
Rubbish.
Okay,
Score the goals.
By the way, most other metrics, they're nowhere near top 4. I just want to point that out.
It was you're setting yourself up for a fall. Once you start claiming your team should be in the top 4, when you're drawing 2-2 against a 10-man Burnley, you're setting yourself up for a bit of criticism.
I was there. They were terrible. Really poor. Late in the game, but he doesn't help with his substitutions. He brings on Sterling late in the game. Everything consists of Burnley sitting deep and Enzo Fernandez somehow trying to quarterback and pick out a killer pass every time.
I don't see this lasting. Pochettino at Chelsea.
Burnley could have won if Jay Rodriguez had finished.
Yeah, I don't see it lasting.
Aston Villa beat Wolves 2-0 as Moussa Diaby scores a screamer. Don, your thoughts?
I love this battle for fourth between them and Tottenham. I couldn't call it either way. I love watching Unai Emery. Side note, if I was Man United, I'd be all in for Unai Emery. I would, and Monchi. I love the way they play. I love watching them work. It was a routine win. To be fair to Wolves, they've got loads of injuries. Neto's injured. Hwang's injured. I think Wolves and Gary O'Neill have done a great job, but this was it was one step too far for them against their local rivals. Villa are impressing me. The loss against Tottenham when they got battered 4 a couple of weeks back wasn't a true reflection of the game, but I love watching Villa play. And I can't call who's going to get the 4th spot.
Unai Emery for Man United. Wow.
All in for him. I'd be all in for him.
See,
I love watching him work.
My concern with Unai Emery is the communication side of it. And I don't just mean his accent and good evening and whatever, because he talks like that in public in Spanish as well. It's not a native language thing. I just think you have to have a bit of an image to be the United manager.
Do you? Ten Hag hasn't got one.
Ten Hag certainly developed one, dropping Cristiano, whatever. Unless you've got a strong director of football, which United, of course, don't have yet. If they get one, maybe it's different. I don't know. Jules and I disagree on this.
I love watching Unai Emery. I think he's an amazing manager.
I'm not going to ask who you were supporting on Saturday when Newcastle faced West Ham, your former club, because I think I know. But Don, this was quite the comeback.
This was some comeback. This was pure emotion at St James's Park, and the face of David Moyes at the end of the game was just a picture, because the West Ham fans up in the gods at St James's were olaying at one point when they were winning 3-1. They were cruising. West Ham at times battered Newcastle, and it was one of them stories where you're watching another player, Sven Botman, in the game before. He's done his ACL. Then Jamal Lascelles done his ACL in this game. Almiron came off the bench, lasted 5 minutes. He'd done his knee. At 3-1, you think, I mean, how many more things can go wrong in a single season or in a single game? And then all of a sudden, Harvey Barnes comes off the bench, gets a couple of goals at the Gallagher end, win 4-3. I mean, one of the games that you look back on in years to come when you look at all the 4-3s and the 5-4s and the 4-4s, and you'll go, this was one of them games where it was an absolute classic.
The Isak penalty, maybe a little jammy?
I thought, maybe bias head, I thought both were penalties. I thought Gordon was really clever getting his foot in. I mean, the Calvin Phillips one, he's really unlucky, Calvin Phillips, because he doesn't see him. But I think the one on Sofal was a bit naive. Should have stayed on his feet. Should have saw him coming in, or peripheral vision try and check who's running in, because he got the 2 pens in more or less similar fashion. But a great game. I
saw you on Twitter taking issue with those West Ham fans who are not fans of Davy Moyes.
I know.
Jules, not a Davy Moyes guy.
Well, I'm not the oracle. I can just give my opinion. And I stated on Twitter saying if David Moyes gets West Ham into European football for 4 years on the spin, he'll go down as one of the most successful managers of all time. Some West Ham fans, for unknown reasons, apart from maybe taking some attacking players off in the game and allowing Newcastle back into the game, I get it from a sub's point of view. But the wider picture, body of work, I think he's done an amazing job. To take West Ham away from the bottom three when Pellegrini took over for the sexy football, because you try and get someone in who's different and you don't appreciate the job that David Moyes has done. Everton fans would have him back in a heartbeat.
I think Ndali's done a great job. I think it touches a slight nerve with West Ham fans. Because of course West Ham won the World Cup because they only had like 4 managers until 1990, because among them are people like John Lyle and Bonds and whatever.
I don't think he can get them back. That's the worry. That's the problem for David Moyes. I don't think he can get them fans who are offside back onto his side. I think that's where he's struggling, which I think is ludicrous.
Hate to go there, Don, but another one of your former clubs, Everton, lost to Bournemouth 2-1, which means they haven't actually won a league game since before Christmas. They're looking at more FFP charges coming their way after an £89 million loss. We kind of took it for granted that Sean Dyche is going to figure everything out, but dude, you got to keep winning games.
Yeah, you have, and you got to score some goals along the way. And
Beto says, oh, don't worry, I got this.
Who said?
Beto. He said, don't worry, I'll keep us up.
Yeah. If he was given the opportunity, if he was played alongside Calvert-Lewin, maybe. They got it back to 1-1. I mean, this is a sad state of affairs before the game. As a former Everton player, I'm actually thinking how good Bournemouth can be. I'd take a point there, because that's how Everton have been. They've been terrible the last couple of months. So the fact they got it back to 1-1, and then anyone but Seamus Coleman with the own goal. I mean, anyone but him. You lose at 2-1. They've got Newcastle
You're saying,
away.
For those who don't know, for those who are too young, who Seamus
legendary
Coleman
player
has been played. He's what? Like
legendary player.
15 years right back at the club.
Unbelievable service. He scores a chest own goal into the back of his net. They've got Newcastle next away, St James's Park. I think Newcastle beat them. The game after that is monumental. They play Burnley at Goodison. So they need to win that one. They need to try and take something from Newcastle. If they can't, they have to beat Burnley. Have to.
Do you think, I mean, I don't think, there's no suggestion Sean Dyche should go because of the charges, because what's been through, because Everton have no money.
They probably can't afford to.
But do you think a different manager would be
from
under
now?
Pressure?
From now, or
well, if it wasn't Sean Dyche, if it was somebody else, if it was Chris Wilder managing Everton,
I think
when you haven't won a game in 3 months.
Yeah, I think the fans back Sean Dyche because of what he stands for. He stands for hard work. He's a man of the people. He gets it. He's not going to turn around and go, "We're going to play really expansive, sexy football." He's a man from a certain background. He wants his teams to reflect that, and Everton are trying to be that team, but they're just so poor.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Sean Dyche is not my favorite manager, but I think when you go into the season playing a certain way, you can't change it now in March.
Yeah.
I think he's shown you he can get results if he's got the backing of the fans and the players. You know, I think you have to kind of live or die with it.
I wouldn't change it now.
No,
I think you're too far in. I think you're too far in. Speaking of charges, Sandro Tonali, who has already been suspended for betting violations, has been dealt and hit with another misconduct charge by the FA relating to 50 bets he placed since joining Newcastle. Thoughts, Gab?
So my first thought is on October 12th, when he was with the Italian national team, that's when he was notified that he was under investigation. And that's when he came clean, said he was a gambling addict, blah, 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 and cooperated. And then he was banned. All these 50 bets, one of the key things to establish would be, were they placed after October 12th or were they placed before?
Yeah.
And they were all placed before October 12th. So I view this as like, dude, you have a problem. I don't know if these 50 bets that he placed on Premier League games, by the way, were already part of the investigation in Italy or not. I think that has to be determined.
Yeah.
But to me, he's already been banned. He's already banned.
Yeah.
And the minute he got caught, he stopped.
Yeah.
So then you want to ban him for betting in a different jurisdiction as well.
Shouldn't they just hit him with a ban at the same time?
I think the ban should be concurrent. This seems to me like the realistic thing, and make sure that he gets the therapy and that he can overcome this obviously gambling addiction. You still need to investigate because, you know, let's face it, those 50 bets, those may involve games that he played in, games where he had knowledge. You want to establish definitively that he didn't tamper or alter results in any way.
Yeah.
But once you've done that, it doesn't make any sense for me to go and punish him again.
No. Yeah.
Calvin Phillips was pictured giving his own fans the finger in a car park. Oh, you think that's funny? Yeah,
of course it's funny. We've all been there.
Well, I just want to ask you, have you ever responded in a similar way to supporters who are haranguing you after games?
Of course I have. Of course I have. When you come off a coach, when you're getting on the coach, you're coming out of the dressing room, you're getting on the coach, you're getting off the coach, whichever way it is, and fans who have travelled all that way, have paid their money to support the team, and you have let them down, give a penalty away, it's not the end of the world. And some fans decided to hammer you after the game as you're getting on the coach. We've all done it, Gab. We've all stuck the fingers up. We've all given him a little bit of verbal back. Doesn't mean that he's out of order. Just means that he's human. Just means that he's feeling the pressure. He's got to try and vent somehow.
So you've done this. Can you
Absolutely.
You must have some good anecdotes here.
No, I haven't really. I told you about my time at Millwall, gone from West Ham to Millwall, a move I should never ever made. And, you know, I had guys standing by my car after single game.
I'm sorry. I get to your footballers, right? But crikey, West Ham to Millwall.
No,
Why
I know.
Why didn't you go from like...
Because I was 35, Gab. Right?
It's rival to rival.
I was 35 going through a divorce.
Go play for Leyton Orient then.
I was going through a divorce at the time, and my options were MLS or Australia. And I didn't want to leave my 6-year-old lad behind.
There's no other club.
No other clubs.
There's no other club.
No other clubs. Millwall.
Leyton Orient would have had you. Dagenham and Redbridge. Grays Athletic.
Weren't there.
I'm trying to think. What other clubs near you?
Millions.
Right?
Millions. But it was Millwall. I just wanted to be at the closest club. And I just lost my mind. I went to Millwall and I got what Calvin Phillips got every single game at home, but they were standing by my car, the Millwall fans. So 5 big dudes standing by my car telling me in nicest possible way to please go back to West Ham. We don't want you here. And I can't really give them the V's because they probably would have chinned me. So I've got to take it literally on the chin, get in my car, speed away, and wait for the next game 14 days later. I get exactly the same abuse.
So you took the abuse. Because you respect the fact that they were paying your wages, or because you were scared?
Or they were a little bit bigger than me.
There you go.